Hand to foot pose is one of our balancing poses where we stand on one foot and we hold either the knee or the foot, the ankle. Leg can be forward or out to the side. Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana, and this is one of my favorite poses. But oftentimes we're so focused on trying to stabilize on the supporting foot or what the lifted leg is doing that we're not really aware of the pelvis and what it's doing in this pose. When we're aware of the pelvis, not only will it help us to find that stability, but it'll also protect and support the lower back. My name is Christina Raskin. I'm the founder of Soul Thrive Yoga, and here at Soul Thrive, we are so passionate about education and about all aspects of yoga. We understand that all aspects are important for a holistic practice, and when we recognize and practice all aspects, from the anatomy and the physical to the meditation and the mindfulness, then we're really honoring yoga's roots. Let's talk about the pelvis in this pose. Now, there are a lot of different variations like forward, side, twisted, holding knee or foot. I'm not going to go through all those variations in this particular video, but we'll talk a little bit more about the pelvis and what we want to be doing with that. So one thing we want to try to do is keep both hip bones pointing straight forward. And when the leg's forward, that's usually easier. However, once we take the legs to the side, then we have a tendency a lot of times to rotate the pelvis. And the reason we do that is because we want to get the leg all the way out to the side. We want to go further or deeper into the pose. And depending on how your hip joint is built, depending on your skeleton, it's going to be unique for every one of us. You'll have a certain range of motion. If my knee pointing forward is 0 degrees, all the way out to the side would be 90 degrees. Nobody has that. It's somewhere in between, so maybe about 45 degrees. You open the knee as wide as you can without rotating the hips, keeping both hips pointing straight forward. So that's one thing you want to watch. The other thing is, where is the pelvis stabilized over the foot? The foot is our base of support, our foundation. The pelvis has to be stable right over it to hold that stability. If we sink to one side, we'll fall that direction. And depending again on your body, you might have the tendency to fall towards the supporting foot. Or once we lift that leg and we straighten it, a lot of times because we're trying to get the leg higher, we'll lift the lifted leg hip. And when we do that, again, it's going to shift my weight that way and I'm going to fall over. So we want to try to keep the hip bones level and balanced over that supporting foot. The other one that I see a lot is once we bring the leg to the side. I'm going to turn this direction so you can see what happens in my hip and my lower back. When we take the leg to the side, we're doing what's called external rotation in that hip joint. When you do that, you want to think about spinning the inner thigh up and the outer thigh down. So there's this rotation happening in the hip joint. The bum and the tailbone are drawing down as the lower belly draws in and up. A lot of times what happens once we take the leg to the side is we actually pop the bum out behind us. We spin the inner thigh in and crunch into the lower back and deactivate through the belly. What that would look like from this position is kind of here. We see it a lot with the legs straight because people are trying to get it higher. And then they'll spin in and pop the bum out. So this kind of shape. Or instead, what we want to do is draw the bum under, spin the inner thigh up, draw the tailbone down. So I'll show the variation from the one we see a lot here, where we're popping out, and then here, where we're spinning the inner thigh up. So that's the version we want. We want to spin the inner thigh up, draw the tailbone down, draw the belly in. That's going to support your lower back and lengthen it, versus the other option, which is going to pop into your lower back. The other problem with this version, once you do that, since you're sending your weight back on your supporting knee, it pushes your femur back, which may not be a problem. If you tend to hyperextend a lot and that causes discomfort in the knee, then putting your body in that shape will cause your knee to hyperextend. In and of itself may not be a problem. It again depends on your skeleton. But if you have sensation, negative sensation in the knee joint when you really straighten the leg, then we want to keep a micro bend in the knee. And if you're doing this spinning in bum lifted version, again, a lot harder to balance too when you do this version, your femur back, and you can lock out into that supporting knee. If you draw the bum under, it's going to be easier to balance. It's going to be safer on your lower back, And if you have that tendency in the supporting knee, then it'll support you there. So again, one last time, what we want to do when we're out to the side, spin your inner thigh up, outer thigh down, activate the glute of the lifted leg, draw the tailbone down, and draw the belly in, and you'll get more of this supported, stable Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana.